when I first read the script, the very first time, my initial thought was, is this timely? Is it relevant to what's happening today? And I was like, well, I don't know. You know, we've got some different things happening. We're talking about an older administration. We've got a new administration running things. And then I read it a second time, and a third time, and a fourth time, and kept reading and reading and reading. And I was thinking to myself, okay, well, you know what? It doesn't really matter at that point, because this play is about so much more than whether or not public television has the right to teach children about different lifestyles. That's not really what this show is about. It would be a mistake to think that that's what this play is about. What this play is really about, in terms of how I see it, is the journey of these different 5 characters and their need to make some sort of connection outside of the world that they currently reside in. And that's the journey that I hope we all take together as we craft this and go forward. The events that take place within the show of being, about the issue of public broadcasting and the right to teach children, that's the catalyst for all of this. That's just what pushes this forward. But really, these stories, I think you could lift these stories out and put them in a multitude of different contexts and be able to tell that same sort of story as we go together. Now, it happens to be pretty cool that this is the catalyst that serves as that, and I don't know how much research you guys have done into the history of this show, but this was actually inspired by true events from 2005, I believe. There was a television show called Postcards from Buster. Mm-hmm. Anybody hear of that show?
I watched the show that shows.
There you go. So, for those of you who don't, Buster was a bunny who, the idea of the show was he would go and visit different parts of the country and meet different types of people, and he would send postcards back home about his adventures. And the show was primarily shot live action. You'd see some animation, but it was primarily shot live action, as if Buster was walking through the house or walking around and going up to meet people, and you'd have the actor playing the voice doing that voice and whatnot. Well, they had an episode where Buster went to Vermont and met some kids there, and these kids happened to be raised by 2 mommies. And so they didn't really make a big deal about that. That's not why he was going there. He was going there because, to look at, how people are in Vermont, and it was actually called Sugar Time was the episode. So the whole point of the show was learning how maple syrup is made. So what better place to go than Vermont, right? Cool,
Right.
So we go to these, what's that?
And ice cream.
And ice cream. So they go there, and as they're going through the house, they're having the kids introduce them to their family, and then they're looking at pictures on the mantle, and Buster says, "Who's that?" And the kid says, "Well, that's my mom." And "Who's that?" "Well, that's my stepmom." And Buster just makes the comment, "Wow, that's a lot of mommies." That's it. That's the only reference that was made to it. Cut to 1 year later, the head of PBS is stepping down. Secretary of Education is pulling funding for the show. They don't want it on the air anymore. They decide to make a national issue out of this. Now, was it right for them to do that, or was it wrong for them to do that? I don't know, and that's not really the issue that's not really the story we're telling here. That serves as the catalyst for this. I think what you'll find as we read through this is the playwright does a really good job of balancing that and kind of providing a balanced argument. Obviously, she has some particular biases because the playwright was a writer on this show, the top band, so we know what her take is on this. But I think, and if you look through the script, you'll see that I think she does do a good job of kind of balancing this out, and that helps our mission as well in making this more about the characters and what they go through, and less about that issue itself. So there is a ton. If you're into reading all about it, Google it, Postcards from Buster, Sugar Time, and have a blast, because there's about 15 pages of different links will come up of different articles from back then where you can read all about them if you want. So I made a few notes, and I'm just making sure that that's so there we go. So this is a comedy here, so we're gonna make people laugh, because comedy is about survival, and all of these folks are struggling to survive. And when it's appropriate to slow things down to where these characters are looking to make connections, we'll certainly do that. Let's not kid ourselves here. We're not doing Hamlet, though. This is going to be a lot of fun to put together, and I think that as artists, it would be great from the design team and the actors to come together and really collaborate on this and make something special happen.